Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the End Zone Enthusiast. I'm Paul, and we are going over our power rankings after week 7. And just like all these other commentators and stuff like that, what the heck's going on this year? I mean, seriously, this is a crazy year for the NFL with all the teams here. And the power rankings definitely show it here. But before I get started, what is the End Zone Enthusiast? Well, I'm a coaster enthusiast. Check out all the cool stuff here. Who basically also loves the NFL. And we do our predictions, we do our power rankings, we do our results sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The last 2 weeks, I haven't felt like doing the results. But I will be discussing that in tomorrow's episode, which is our predictions. But that's basically what we're going with here. What are power rankings, right? Oh, t-shirt. This is Twisted Timbers. Twisted Timbers is an amazing roller coaster. Top 5 roller coaster for me. It's right over there. And it's basically over in Kings Dominion in Virginia, one of the best parks in the northeast, southeast, mid-Atlantic area there and stuff like that. So what are the power rankings? Well, here's where we give you our honorable mentions. And usually it's our number 11 or 12. I know Grossi says these are just teams I want to mention. For me, it's kind of like number 12. They're right outside there. And then, of course, our top 10. On that in there, we give you some information on each team. And without further ado, let's go into our honorable mentions. And you're going to recognize these, all right? Because this week, they're the same from last week. You got the Green Bay Packers who squeaked out a victory. Congratulations, you squeaked it out there. It was definitely a game that could have gone either direction. It was actually a game that they probably should have lost. However, Arizona loves to give things away. And even though I don't believe in Green Bay, I really do not believe in Green Bay at all. They only have one loss, so you can't count them out. But because of the fact they should have lost to Arizona, I haven't really seen a good game from Jordan Love and the team, like a real solid game in the last couple of weeks. I kind of like, you know what? You kind of staying where you're at. You know, you haven't moved up, but you still only have one loss. You have a tie, but you still only have one loss. So because of that, they're kind of in purgatory. I can't really move them up, can't really move them down. They got to, hopefully this week when they play, who's Green Bay playing? They're playing Pittsburgh. After playing Pittsburgh, I think we're going to know a little bit more here, especially with Aaron Rodgers' revenge game and stuff. But right now, you're an honorable mention because I don't know what to do with you. Same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yet again, same honorable mentions from last week. When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, dominating win. Everything was going. The only problem was you're playing the Vegas Raiders, and they're not a good team. They've got probably the worst quarterback or one of the worst quarterbacks going right now. Their defense is very questionable. Pete Carroll, I'm starting to think the game might have passed you by here. So dominating win, you got your felon back. Congratulations. But with that being said, kind of like Green Bay, I don't know if you're moving up. I don't know if you're moving back. This week, Kansas City is playing Washington. Yet again, another game that kind of like with Green Bay, we're going to see where they're at. If they do what they did to the Raiders last week, they do that with Washington this week, boom, you're moving up. No question about it. You're a top 10 team. But right now, you're kind of in purgatory. So before we get into our top 10, we always want to talk about who dropped. And this week, nobody moved up into the top 10. Nobody moved out of the top 10. But there's a lot of shuffling, guys. There is a lot of shuffling. Nobody stayed in their same spot. All right. Everybody shuffled around here, but nobody new moved in there, which kind of makes sense because the honorable mentions were kind of frozen there too. Now, teams that could have made it in here would be the Chargers, of course, also the San Francisco 49ers. But with that, yet again, on both of those fronts, they're getting victories, but I don't know where they're at. And San Francisco, just the injuries just kind of keep me from believing in them. So, but it is the same top 10. It's just all shuffled around. So let's kick it off right now with our top 10. Number 10, dropping down. You knew it had to happen, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what? Wasn't a great game by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And really, it's amazing that Joe Flacco actually really has their number like this. And the way that Mike Tomlin, you can't do that in a division. You've seen him, 2 times a year for decades? You should have been able to game plan for Flacco. Basically, it comes to the fact that Cincinnati now has a quarterback who can actually get the ball to Chase, get the ball to Higgins, get the ball to their playmakers and stuff like that. So Cincinnati might start moving back up here. Now they have a solid quarterback, not making mistakes. One of the biggest things, and when you look at our top three, the big thing with those top three quarterbacks is they don't make the mistakes. And that's the thing. Browning was just throwing too many picks, making way too many mistakes. If you play fairly mistake-free football, you're going to do well. Now, with that being said, we're not talking about the Cincinnati here. We're talking about Pittsburgh. And like I said, I'm still keeping you in the top 10 because you've got that division. Even though you lost to Cincinnati, Cincinnati's still a game and a half behind you. And yet again, that's one game with Flacco. They got to start, Flacco everybody could have a good game or two. You got to see if Flacco can be consistent. Now, when it comes to the Steelers, come on. You were a better team quarterback-wise. Aaron Rodgers is, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing this year. He's not lighting up the numbers like he did when he was younger. Now he's just playing mistake-free football, making the right calls. So Pittsburgh, you got that division pretty much still wrapped up pretty well, which is why I'm keeping you in the top 10. But who are they playing next week? They're playing Green Bay. Yet again, Green Bay might take your spot. Now, if you beat Green Bay, you're going to move up a little bit. I'm going to believe in you a little bit more. But if not, I'm pretty sure Green Bay is going to be moving up and you're going to be moving out. So Pittsburgh, you're in the top 10, but you're barely in there. Number 9 was on a bye. But unlike a lot of places, I think Perna does his power rankings. But if you're on bye, you're not in the power rankings. He kind of leaves you where you're at. For me, you can move up and down. And basically, teams that were ahead of you moved up. New England, I had you ahead of New England last week because I still believed you're the better team. New England won. New England now jumped you. So you're still in the top 10. You're number 9, but you got to show me something. Just like the Eagles, 2 weeks, they lost 2 in a row. You guys lost 2 in a row, and this week you're on bye, so you didn't have a chance to redeem yourself. But you got to shake off the rust. You got to start redeeming yourself. And you're playing the upstart Carolina Panthers this week. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. You're not going to have a bye week kind of situation against Tennessee or the Jets or Miami. You're going to have to bring your game here because Carolina, they're on a streak. I think it's 2. 2 is a streak. So you're number 9 because I just think you got the talent and you got Josh Allen. But you know what? Just got kind of like the Eagles. The Eagles had to dust themselves off after that Giants loss. They had to come out there and play a very good game. Can you do the same thing, Buffalo? My fingers across you can. Number 8 is a team that actually went up slightly. They were number 10 last week, and it's the Rams. And the Rams took care of business overseas. They had Jacksonville, and they had to play Jacksonville. Jacksonville actually was there for over a week, so they were already there. Rams came in there late, and you didn't have Puka, but you still won. You got Devontae Adams, top guy there. And your running attack is very solid. And your defense, I think, at any moment, Verse can just blow up that game. So I believe in you. And I think up until recently, I thought you guys were the shoe-in to take the West with San Francisco with all their injuries. But you know what? Seattle's looking pretty darn good now, too. So you're in a battle, Seattle, the Rams, and still San Francisco. They keep winning. They're all got pretty much the same record right now. But I just think when you get Puka back, you're going to be back, the ship's going to be righted. And then also Stafford, the guy's just really good. Just like Aaron Rodgers, does not make the mistakes. A key veteran who knows where to go with the ball every time. Number 7, guys, you're back. The Eagles. Now, are you back? No, you're not back. But Hurts was able to show that he can do the deep ball and to go along with the dropbacks. He has a major problem with the intermediate. The 5 to 15 yards, that's where he definitely is not accurate. However, you got to give props to Jalen Hurts. He took the team on his shoulders and he did well. I am a little concerned about the fact that Saquon has not been going. It's now going into week 8. Saquon, you're not going to hit 1,000 yards this time, not yet alone 2,000 like last year. You got to get a little bit more consistent with the running attack on that end there. And I'm wondering if it's because Gainwell or because the line's getting older. Also defensively, you're bringing back Brandon Graham. I question that. I think Graham should have stayed retired. I'm not a big fan of guys, especially that come back to either relive some glory, but I just hope he doesn't get hurt. But all in all, like I said, your weaknesses are still your weaknesses. Your strengths are still your strengths. You got the Giants again this week. This should be a revenge game. You should pound Dart into the ground. Turn him into a long dart, all right? Because you know him now. You know what he can do. You know what you need to shut down. He can only do so much. And if he can lock down Scatterboo, you're in good shape. But right now, you're number 7. Number 6, fall from grace, guys. You were number 1, but you ran into a train wreck there with Detroit Lions. And Detroit is the better team, especially when you're missing key components. You got to remember, this is a 3rd, maybe 4th week without Bucky. I got Bucky on my fantasy. Bucky, what's wrong with you? We got to get you back in these games. And of course, now that horrible thing that happened to Mike Evans with his clavicle being broken, pretty much, he's pretty much lost for the season. I think maybe if the playoffs come back, he has a shot. But that 1,000-yard streak is gone. There's no way he can come back with that. And like I said, I haven't seen somebody like him in that much pain in a while. So that's kind of brutal. Big loss there. But you're right outside the top 5 because I do believe you are one of the better teams. Yep, you ran into Detroit, and Detroit is the best team in the NFC right now. So with that being said, hopefully Baker, I know Tampa's got an easier game against the Saints. It's a good game. It's a divisional game, so you can never sleep on those. But hopefully this week, Tampa gets the ship right in and they're good to go. All right, we're going into the top 5, and number 5 is a team that you want to talk about squeaking by. I moved them up, too. It's the Denver Broncos, who I think are the best team in the AFC West and the team that can dethrone Kansas City finally. No offense to the Chargers, and they're playing tomorrow against Minnesota. I still believe you can Charger it up. But when it comes to Denver, their defense is there. Yet again, you were losing 19-0, 24-6 or something like that. You came back, and that's impressive. The key is not to fall that far behind against a mediocre team like the Giants. Yet again, my Eagles got their butt kicked by them, so I can't complain too much. But all in all, Denver, I think you are the best in the AFC West. You got one of the best defenses there. And if Bo Nix can play a full game, he seems to be almost like the Eagles where they play half and then they have a bad half. If he can play like he played in that 4th quarter, man, Kansas City is going to be dethroned. All right, sorry about the yawn there. Number 4, you got to give them New England Patriots, guys. The Patriots are now the leaders by a full 2 games because they are 1 game up on Buffalo, but they also beat them in the tiebreak. So they're 2 games up right now in the East. Nobody had that coming here. Drake May is playing mistake-free football, and he's good. He's taking risks. He's dropping it down. He's playing a really smart game. You've got Diggs, who has been stepping up there. You've got the tight end has been solid the entire year. The running attack's a little shaky. I still worry about the guy fumbling. And then Vrabel has that defense doing what it needs to do. They are a solid team. And if you look at the next 4 teams, every one of them has a quarterback who's not making mistakes. And that's the key to success in the NFL. So New England, I'm very proud of you guys. Welcome there. Number 3, Seattle Seahawks. They got 1 wide receiver. And Sam Darnold gets it to that wide receiver. But you know what? They do have a solid running attack, and their defense has been playing well. They're playing mistake-free football. And even though, the Rams have more talent and San Francisco gets everybody healthy, they have more talent. What I see with Seattle is they're not making mistakes, and they're just one foot after the other, 1 foot after the other. And that's really the key to these is just keep the train going one step after the other, keep moving forward. So Seattle, the West is yours to lose now. Number 2, best team in the NFC. I always have like number 1 and number 2 as the best team in the conferences. And without a question, it's Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions are 5-2. They had a brutal loss in the beginning of the year against Green Bay, but I think they were getting their footing with new coordinators. And then they kind of lost a game that the refs really helped out Kansas City. So they have 2 losses, just like the Eagles, just like Tampa Bay, just like most of the NFC West. But the difference is, I think the talent-wise with their 2-headed monster running attack, Gotham making mistakes with and the defense being solid. The only weakness is the secondary. So if you're playing a team that's got wide receivers like the Eagles have, that could be a problem for them. But playing a depleted Tampa Bay, who had their 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, not 1 and 2. Right now, Detroit's the team to beat in the NFC. And number 1, guys, who would have thought this in the beginning of the year? The Indianapolis Colts. Seriously, the Indianapolis Colts are 6-1, best record in the NFL. They have been playing consistent. Are they overwhelming? No. Are they beating up the teams? No. They're playing mistake-free. Danny Dimes is throwing mistake-free football. They got the wide receivers. You've got the number 1 running attack with Jonathan Taylor, and you got a solid defense. And that's what it takes to win. Plus, they're in a division right now with Houston being down, Jacksonville's shaky, and of course, you've got brain's freezing here. Tennessee that just fired their coach. So you got a division, kind of like how Houston got through their division. I think the same thing's going to happen. The difference is when it comes to Indianapolis, you've got Buffalo staggering. You got Pittsburgh. Nobody really believes in Pittsburgh. You got Kansas City off that slow start. They might end up with the number 1 seed. And if the road's got to go through Indianapolis, that is a change for Kansas City. That is a change for Buffalo. Nobody sees that. So, and they got this week they're playing Tennessee, I believe. They are playing, Indianapolis is playing Tennessee. So, it doesn't get much better than that. So, let's come over here quick. Boom, boom. There we go. So, one more time, our top 10 here. And if you look over there, you can actually see the who's moving up, who's moving down. So, honorable mentions stayed the same. Green Bay and Kansas City. Nobody new entered this week. So, there's no Chargers. There's no 49ers. There's no Washington. It's the same teams, but a lot of movement up and down. You got number 10, Pittsburgh, number 9, Buffalo, number 8, the Los Angeles Rams. You got the Eagles coming back up, and number 7, they were down to 9. Got Tampa Bay falling from the top spot, going all the way down to number 6, mainly because of the injuries to Evans. Number 5, Denver. It's not pretty, but they're winning. Number 4, New England. There's a new person in charge of the East. Number 3, Seattle. Yet again, mistake-free football. Number 2, Detroit, which is probably the best team in the. If I had to, put money on Indianapolis and Detroit, probably going with Detroit. But number 1 is the Indianapolis Colts. So tomorrow we're going to drop. Boom. Tomorrow we are going to drop our predictions, and right now we are 68-39. We had another 9-6 weekend, which yet again it's a winning weekend, but we're not getting double digits like we used to. But tough to do that to the NFL. But 68-39, still pretty good there. I think it's 29 plus 29 there, which is kind of nice. But once again, guys, like and subscribe if you like what we do, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow when we make our predictions. So fly, Eagles, fly. Baker's got to bake, and Buffalo, stop doing what you're doing. Let's right that ship.